Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. I have to tell you, I am beat up. I spent almost the whole day getting this engine transaxle loose from the Mule. It really did fight me like every inch of the way. It's almost like they came up with the engine transaxle assembly and then built the cart around it. I'll show you if you guys ever have to take one of these out. Obviously it's wise to start off by getting the exhaust system off. The shocks, right, 2 bolts, one here, one down on that. Then I cut the mounts for the swing arms for the rear end. You guys could see the rear end is swinging in the breeze on both sides. Right. There were 2 bolts up here, one there for the cradle, because once again the engine and drivetrain are held rigid and it's got independent rears on each side. So the cradle is bolted here, right there and there, and then underneath it's bolted again. This is the cradle that I speak, and it's bolted right where that 29 is underneath. There's bolts that go up into this thing. I think you could see them right there below the 29. Right, so that bolts on right there. So that's the back half. Right, once again I cut the mounts there, and they have the same thing on the other side. You can see where I cut them, right there and up there. There's the shock mount, right? I removed the various wires, so they're all ready to go. I cut the exhaust system, took off some of the hoses, cut some of the hoses, disconnected all the connectors at the connectors, disconnected the cables. I think you guys could see that right there. That's a front motor mount. And you can see I jostled the engine around and it's off the front motor mount there. Basically, to get this engine out, what I need to do is, you can see there's a jack under it now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pallet on the ground underneath it, underneath the back of this thing. And then I'm going to, excuse the groans. Then I'm basically going to hook up to the trailer hitch with the backhoe loader and gently pull it out. I'll set the heights of the pallet so it doesn't really drop, but it's going to slide out right onto the pallets. Then I can move the pallets around where I want them to go. So basically at this point the engines and drivetrain is all ready to come out. It's just a matter of dropping it. Some of you asked why I didn't get this engine running again. This engine is a water-cooled thing that's been crashed. This engine has 1 million miles on it. I basically did not think that this... Could I get it running? I'm sure I could have. I had it running on starting fluid, so I'm sure I could have put some time into the carburetors and got it running. But I couldn't convince myself that it was going to be reliable, and the drivetrain was making some clicky sounds, and you know, I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want an unreliable vehicle. What I want this is, and you guys have heard this saying probably 2 billion times, keep it simple, stupid. What I want is a vehicle that in the coldest of weather or the warmest of weather or the, you know, summer, winter, spring, fall, I want to be able to walk up to this thing, turn the key, have it start, put it in reverse, have it go backwards, put it in forward, have it go forward. I don't want any trouble with it, any surprises with it. I want it to be the easiest vehicle in the world. By the way, to that end, I've also decided to do away with the back suspension. The thing is going to go as fast as a golf cart goes, which is what, 12 miles per hour. So given that speed, and it's a utility vehicle, it's a truck to drive around the property. Given all of that, it just doesn't need suspension. It's I'm going to put a nice big set of back tires on it. I think I have 21 11/8. I'm going to try to get those to go on the back of it. I'm going to see if I can't get the front tires to hold air and behave properly. And I think I'm going to stick with those. I might have to put a tube in one or both the front tires. I want this thing to be simple. I don't want to have to put air in the tires. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have weird gas containers or anything like that. I just as soon, if I got to put gas in it, lift the bed, put gas in it, put the bed back down. Once again, sit down on the seat, turn the key. She starts. I put it in forward. I put it in reverse. I go whatever way I want to go. You know, cable brake. I don't know if I'm going to bother hooking up the brake pads or if I'm just going to hook up something to that arm right there and use that as the brake. I'm not quite sure yet. Whatever's simple. I want this thing to be fall off a log easy. I want no surprises, no trouble, none of that. So once again, that's why I'm pulling out the OEM drive chain. Once I get the OEM drive chain out, I should really pressure wash it, clean it all up really, really good. Then I can see what's going on in the back. The frame on this thing is just like King Kong. It's like stronger than, well, definitely stronger than my Tacoma pickup. Not quite F1. It's probably, you know, like Ranger strong. It's a really made cart. So to slam a rock solid golf cart drive chain into it, I think you know, with the Predator engine, I think that'll be the best. One of my other thoughts toward this, and the other reason why I kind of want to get it, I mean, a golf cart rear end is basically bulletproof. They really hold on forever. And should it get blown up or the brakes or, you know, something, well, brakes going bad, you could just replace them. But should something bad happen to the golf cart rear end, assuming it's not welded in, you could bolt it in. That's something my son could do. About the Predator engine going bad, that's something my son could fix. Either one of my sons. If the torque converter acts up, that's not a big deal to replace, right? A half a dozen bolts, and you can replace the torque converter. So my thoughts are that if for any reason I decide to transfer this to my son, or we decide to sell it off, I think whoever gets it wouldn't have any trouble keeping it alive. I keep looking at this thing and I'm trying to figure out if it's cattywampus here. Let me try to look straight down it. See the way that is, and that lines up to it. And I'm trying to figure out, I guess this more or less does the same. Maybe this side is out a little bit more. Yeah, I think I don't. Yeah, maybe the roll cage is slightly tweaked. It really, once again, I said this before, it really doesn't matter at all, because it's not like this thing is going to be doing the Indianapolis 500. The interesting thing about working on these things, particularly tearing an engine out of them, you learn an awful lot about them. Some stuff perhaps you don't even want to know. Yeah, I decided to give up on the cradle, the shocks, all that stuff. I just want to be simple. I just want this to be forward, reverse, no big surprises. Tomorrow is the garage sale at Stormville, and the weather, they're calling for showers. I don't know, maybe out there, out toward Pennsylvania, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully the show goes on. It's one of my big 3 shows of the year. Basically, I have the car show in Rhinebeck in May, the first week of May. And then the garage sale at Stormville, they hold that twice. They hold it in the spring, and they hold it in the fall. This is obviously the fall show. So then I'm more or less, from a flea market point of view, I'm really pretty much done. And that's kind of a good thing, because I'm pretty much full. The next thing you guys are going to see is some golf cart videos. I have 3, 4, 5, 7, I don't know, 7, 8 golf carts floating around. And let's pretend, let's wave a magic wand. Let's say they all ran perfectly. I cannot ride, store, or deal with that many golf carts. Especially given that I have, the club car over there with the ugly roof on it, the yellow and blue one, that runs. And then I have the conversion cart, the one with the TRX 200 motor in it, that runs. And then this thing's going to run. And there is the 3-wheeled Cushman, which is basically a dumper golf cart that runs, and then the other 2 Cushmans. So I'm kind of overloaded on golf carts. If somebody wants an electric golf cart that needs a lot of work, probably good for a conversion, let me know. But you got to come after it real time. Once again, send me a message, and let's see if we can't work something out. I don't know, some kind of deal or trade or whatever. But I gotta shrink my inventory by golf carts. I have 1 or 2 golf carts that have the forward and reverse rear end in them, and those, for the time being, I'm probably going to hang on to. I'll probably get rid of an electric one without too much problem, and I'd probably consider getting one of the ones with forward and reverse, but without the rear end in it. I'll give you an electric rear end to go in it, or you could do a straight axle. If you're doing a conversion, the straight axle is a good idea with pillow bearings. So something to consider. It's a way of kind of building a rat rod, but it doesn't take as much garage space, and it doesn't take as long. If you're building a rat rod, typically you build the engine, call it a 350, then a turbo 400 automatic transmission. Then you got all the body work, the frame conversion, the suspension. Then you got the interior, and on and on and on. So if you're doing a golf cart conversion, normally you figure you got the steering wheel, the seat is no big deal, right? You could go with bucket seats from a car, or you can just upholster or plank and have a bench seat. So just a golf cart conversion's cool. It's a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to play with. Coming up with an engine's not that big a deal. Motorcycle engines are pretty plentiful. You could pick up one of the China 125s with reverse, 3-speed plus reverse. They go for under 400, actually 300. You could get one that's only forward with a CVT, constant velocity transmission, automatic basically. You could pick up one of those engines for about, with the ignition and all that, call it about $250. You get one of those and smash it into it. So there are cool things you could do with a golf cart, and especially if you get the cart from me for next to nothing, it puts you in a good way. So if anybody's after a golf cart, let me know. About the motors, the chainsaws, Musty One's going to go through them first, and whatever's left over is left over. Some of you guys suggested put them on Craigslist, let them go for $40 each, stuff like that. I'd really like to see him get to a good home more than anything else. I'm going to try to see if Musty One can't grab the lot of them. And once he has them up there in New Hampshire, he's moving them a little closer to where some of you guys are. A bunch of you guys are in Ohio and so forth, but up New Hampshire way. If anybody wants one specifically, he'll be here in 2 weeks. So, you know, make arrangements with me to come get him. I'm obviously not going to ship him if I'm giving him away. And I'm obviously not going to drive him anywhere if I'm giving him away. Okay, that about covers it for today. Folks, I want to thank you all for coming and watching the Hoard, you know, taking your time to subscribe and comment. I enjoy all the good comments. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and guys, please get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now, folks.